So recently I posted a video on social media called Positivity Over Politics. And the purpose of that video was to explain that I have no desire whatsoever to post things about politics on my social media accounts. And I explained that the reason for that is due to politics being highly divisive. And then that same day, I saw a post on Facebook that an African American gentleman made that stated that the most racist people in America are white men holding fish in their social media profile pictures. And that also white men who drive pickup trucks are also some of the most racist people in America. And the reason that I'm mentioning this is because this goes along with what I was talking about in that last video, which is divisiveness. Because if we're posting stuff like that is discriminatory and stereotyping and so forth, that is a contributor to the divisiveness in this country. Atop of that, that's also a racist post, which is incredibly divisive. The definition of racism is discriminatory, prejudiced behavior that is aimed at a particular ethnic group. So, if you're making, stereotypes about people of certain ethnicities, and you're bashing people of certain ethnicities for whatever reason, if it's aimed toward a specific ethnic group of people, it is racist, regardless of how you want to look at it. And that post that this guy put on Facebook is in fact racist, because he's stereotyping white guys who apparently fish and drive pickup trucks as being, they're all racist. They're the most racist people in North America. So that is in and of itself a racist statement, and it's also false. And the main reason this concerns me is, I happen to be a white guy who loves to fish, and I also happen to own and drive a pickup truck in the pursuit of fishing and hunting and kayaking and so forth. So, you can see where I'm going with this probably, but, I do not whatsoever consider myself to be racist. I mean, I grew up in public school amongst African-American children, playing with African-American children. I've had African-American friends throughout my entire life. I served in the military with a bunch of African-American people who I got along with and was friends with, throughout that entire time. I've also been friends with Chinese people, Vietnamese people, Korean people, Thai people, Filipino people, Cambodian people. I have known and been friends with people from all kinds of different ethnic backgrounds. My number one motto is that you treat other people with the respect that you expect to be treated with, regardless of who they are or where they come from, what their ethnic background is, what their skin color is, whatever. The reality of it is, in my opinion, there's two types of people in this world. There are good people, and then there are POS people. You're either a good person who treats others with respect, or you're a piece of what. POS. Okay? Plain and simple. And I'm not down with racism. As far as I'm concerned, racists are POS people. I'm not down with sexism or misogyny or any of those kinds of things, because they're all discriminatory, and divisive. And it doesn't matter where that behavior comes from, man, woman, child, doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your ethnic background is. If you're acting in a discriminatory behavior of some sort, then you're in fact wrong. And that's all there is to it. And then, you do have this narrative out there. You can Google it. Can African American people be racist? Because there is a narrative out there floating around that where some people truly believe that African American people cannot, in fact, be racist. And that's absolutely false, because if you look at the true definition of racism, which is, stereotyping and discriminatory, biased behavior toward a specific ethnic group of people, that is racism. And that applies to everyone, not just white people. But the narrative is that black people can't be racist because of essentially the power dynamic between white people and black people, that because white people held black people as slaves and had a certain amount of sociological power over black people, that it's okay for black people to discriminate against white people, and it's okay for black people to engage in racist behavior and still not be labeled as being racist. But I'm here to tell you that that is not okay. It's not okay for anyone to act like that, because when you act like that, you're being racist. And if there's one thing that we've learned over the years, it's that racism is not okay. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your ethnic background is. If you're acting in a racist fashion, then you are being racist. And that power structure narrative, you can pretty much blow that out of the water by saying, well, then, Chinese people have suffered from a great deal of oppression based upon power structure and so forth. So, they're allowed to be racist too. You could say Hispanic people have suffered from that sort of thing in some way or another. So it's also okay for them to be racist as well. The reality of it is racism is just plain wrong, and divisiveness is just plain wrong, and it doesn't matter who's doing it, who's engaging in that sort of behavior. Period. It doesn't. The color of your skin does not give you a pass to act like a racist. And anyone can come on here and disagree with me all they like, but that's just not a mindset or an ideology that I'm on board with. It's just not. If it's not okay for white people to behave in a racist fashion, then it's also not okay for black people or Chinese people or Vietnamese people or Korean people or anyone else to behave in a racist fashion. Period. As the old saying goes, what's good for the goose is also good for the gander. So, in other words, if we expect white people to uphold a specific behavioral type and fashion, then everyone should be expected to uphold a specific behavioral type and fashion. Period. Plain and simple. So, disagree with me or not, that's the way I feel about it. That's, those are my opinions, but I don't see how you can argue any merit of opposing ideologies when it comes to that. Anyway, just like I said, it was a coincidental thing that come up on Facebook, and it was also, dealing with divisiveness. And since I had just made a post about divisiveness, I was like, well, hey, this right here is a prime example of what I was talking about divisive behavior. And, it's something that I'm definitely opposed to across the board, regardless of where that divisive behavior comes from, whether it's politics or it's racism or it's sexism or whatever it is. If it's behavior that divides people instead of bringing them together as people, then I'm not down with it, and that's all there is to it. So, you know, feel free to, you know, to like or dislike this video or comment on it or share it or what have you. And, you know, feel free to subscribe to my channels here on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram if you want to. But more than anything, you know, as you make your way around in this world, treat other people with respect, and do not contribute to the divisiveness that we already have more than enough of in this country. And have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.